Welcome to Wisdom House. I'm Sister Rosemary Greco. I'm the administrator for Wisdom House Retreat and Conference Center, and it's really a wonderful joy to have you all here today. Thank you for coming to celebrate the completion of a 3-year project, which has been the project to replace these windows in our, well, these are the replaced ones, to replace windows in our chapel, and to do that so that we could not only conserve energy and enhance the beauty of the place, but really to bring wonderful art into this worship space. Several people who were significant to this project are all members of the Northwest Connecticut community. They are architect Clifford A. Cooper of Litchfield, installer James Seaver of Torrington, artist Hugh O'Donnell of Washington, as well as Sister Joanne Ionati and myself, who really tried to guide the development of the wisdom theme in these windows and made critical decisions along the way. All of us and you and more than 300 individuals and organizations who contributed to this endeavor have brought us here to this happy moment. In the Hebrew Scriptures, God, who is called wisdom, is found in creation and in the cosmos. She, wisdom, is a tree of life, an architect, a hostess, and one who invites everyone to the table. These are a few of the key scriptural themes which inspire the decisions in this chapel and in these windows. And so we celebrate today. I turn this over now to Sister Joanne Ionati, our Art and Spirituality Coordinator.
For my part today, I'd like to begin by calling on some voices from some of the neighboring centuries, the 18th century, the 19th century, and the 20th century. In the 18th century, Voltaire wrote, "Beauty must be felt as well as perceived." In the 19th century, Oscar Wilde wrote, "The mystery of the world is in the visible, not the invisible." In the 20th century, Susan Sontag wrote, "Transparency is the highest, most liberating value in art." Transparency, she wrote, means experiencing things as they are. The mystery and beauty of the space that we're in today will ground those who sit here and visit this space, and it will give them an opportunity to experience the divine. This is not a place for people to run away from the world, but hopefully it will aid them to live in the world more fully. It will help them to live more transparently, because it will engage them in the mystery of the world, in the mystery of creation. When I met you 2 years ago to begin to talk about this project, we met in this room, and you said to me, "When people come in here, I want them to know." So of course my question was, know what? But he knew exactly what he was saying. He said, when people come into this room, because he knew we were an interfaith center, he said, "I want people to know that the spirit that is within nature, that surrounds this whole place, is the same spirit that is within them."
I had to just look into myself as an artist and actually really ask myself the question of what was the central issue that really governs what I do as an artist. And it boils down to really doing something about the struggle for light and space that goes on in the whole of creation. The thing that I'm most moved by is to see how everything struggles for light and for space, whether it's going on inside your body or whether it's going on in the garden, whether it's going on in your heart. It's going on poetically and it's going on literally. And this struggle for light and space, this war and this love between the two opposites, is the thing that most moves me. And it most moves me by its appearance in the natural world. And so I said to Sister Joanne, let's make a tree. Let's make a vine that goes around the whole room and carries on the vine all the prayers and all of the aspirations of the different faiths of the world. And they would, and you could see the text going through the vine, and the text would culminate in fruit that would be based on poetry and verse from all of the different faiths. That was the very first idea. And as we started to develop it, I started investigating all kinds of different ways in which we could interface different poetic texts. And it became clear that what we could start to see happening was a kind of argument rather than a synthesis, and that one could get too stuck on texts and rather than actually going straight to the heart of the matter. And so both Sister Joanne and Sister Rosemary really encouraged me to remember what it is that I was most centered in. And they said, we love your paintings about growth and about light. And if you could just come out of that, I think that we would be really going right to the heart of what we care about in this mission. And that was such a wonderful thing to be asked to do, because it brought me back to my senses. It brought me back to myself. And someone once said that you learn innocence from animals and you learn simplicity from plants. And I think that it's very true. And when one's looking for virtue and one's looking for a mission, one has to look at the whole of the living world. Not just at each other, not just the sort of social exchange that goes on, but the whole of the consciousness of life. Being able to enter into the animal realm is so important. When I look at my cat sitting out in the garden, just sitting in the long grass and trying to imagine what she sees, I'm moved and I'm actually brought into the garden myself. And I find that very, very important. So this whole issue of inspiration comes to mind. And so to create a space in which one could feel inspired became the project. And I wanted to avoid any pinpointing any heavily ecclesiastic reference, because I wanted people to really find a place in themselves when they're in a place like this. The idea of a chapel, the idea of a place for contemplation, to me, really is about giving people a chance to surround themselves with themselves, to come to themselves, to come to their senses, and in so doing come to the spirit that's in them and that extends out beyond them, to give people a chance to feel expanded out beyond the limitations of their own skin. Because I think so many people feel like they're a prisoner of their own skin, having to contest illnesses and emotional disturbances and lack of food and lack of resources. It makes one feel like one's trapped inside oneself. And to make one feel to be able to expand out, I think, is the most important thing to be able to do.